Hi, I am Stacey Gale, and I am recording my disposition self-assessment survey. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the first question that's asked on this sheet is, what is the teacher's role in leaving a list of supporting, improving, planning, practice, as well as upholding expectations and collaboratively advancing the profession? Well, one of the things I will tell you is I am a co-teacher. So collaborative planning and teaching is what I do on a daily basis. This past school year, I co-taught ELA for seventh grade as well as seventh grade mathematics. And it was amazing. We have a mantra at our school that all students can and will learn. Our school is made up of students from all walks of life. We have students that are on a DACA program. We have students that were refugees. We have students that just emigrated to the country. They are part of the newcomers program. And it is so amazing to see that some of these students who were not able to construct a sentence verbally or written wise. At the end of the school year, they were hitting all benchmarkers. You could have a lengthy conversation with them. Some of the students that I worked with this past school year exited out of the English language learners program, which I am the teacher for. I was the uh, teacher for all of seventh grade, so I had 140 students to work with every day. And it was awesome. It was tiring, but it was awesome. Um, and so working collaboratively and planning was amazing. We even had professional development meetings about it, co-teaching and co-planning. We had set aside in our development meetings to co-plan and to work collaboratively on as well, not but just within our grade content, but with all ELA teachers met together or all L teachers met together and sharing ideas of what helped get students to participate, be more engaging. What did specific teachers do to get more student output? Throughout the second half of the year, we were challenged as teachers, less teacher talk and more student output. And so we had to come together, meeting of the minds with how were we going to um, challenge students to talk more and the teacher speak less. Um, it was it was a bit of a challenge, especially for those of us like me who are used to constantly talking in the classroom, but it was great. We challenged students, especially with ELA. We start challenge them with different genres of reading, from doing Hamilton, doing a Raisin in the Sun first screenplay that they did, doing Night instead of doing the expected Anne Frank. Um, they were challenged with indigenous poetry, and so this challenged the students from all cultures to engage and learn about different cultures, not just their own, and how it related to their own. And they were able to understand in the text how it kind of, oh, this is kind of like what we do in our culture. Or our religion. We had many students that were Muslims. We had students that were straight up Christians or Catholics. And so it was amazing. It was an amazing school year, and it was amazing to challenge these students and to see how far they came from August to where they were um, at the end of the school year. So co-planning and co-teaching and working collaboratively, we realized helped our diverse learners to be successful in all content areas. Um, Benchmarkers were raised. I mean, it was just phenomenal. Um, And one of the things that, one of the dispositions that I currently possess, at the end of the school year, each teacher was given an award, and I won the award. It was called the STEMMIs, and I won the award for teacher with the biggest heart. Um, I related a lot to the students because of the mere fact that I was not born and raised in the United States, and many of them were not. And so I was able to share with them my Canadian upbringing. Even though I was born and raised in Canada, my parents were from different countries as well. And so um, it it was quite helpful to engage with the students, to relate to them on that level, to help them to understand, like, I get it. I know what you're going through because of the fact that we're trying to muddle through the waters here while we are learning different curriculums, different way that things are taught, because it is a little bit different in Canada. And so students were able to understand and appreciate what I had to share, while I was so much appreciating um, what what they had to share with me about their culture, about speaking languages at home. I too speak a second language in Canada, where I'm from. In Quebec, I speak French as a second language, and switching off English, or when I'm at home speaking English, and then switching on French when I leave the doors of my home. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. Sometimes you have to stop and think, okay, I got to think about this in English. And so I was able to relate that a lot with my students, that they have to turn off their language of, whether it's Spanish or Somali or Arabic, um, or Hindi, turn it off when they hit school and think only in French, or only in their language. And then when they get home, they're doing their homework, they got to still think in English while they may be engaging with their family in the language of their birth. And so, in that way, I was able to relate to um, the students, to be culturally aware, to be sensitive to their needs culturally, and to understand the diversity in which the community of which I taught. Meeting parents was also really great. I've met some really great, compassionate parents that would do anything to help their student, their child, to be able to succeed, um, grasping the English language and doing their utmost best. um, the other thing that that I'm sharing with you today is thinking about personal biases. Sometimes teachers, and we were challenged with this with our professional development meetings. Our coordinator, our deputy director, she challenged us, and she said, "You may not think that you have a bias." And many teachers, oh no, including myself, I didn't think I had a bias. But she said to us, think about it. And she put us in groups and we talked about it. And we came to the conclusion that as educators, um, we may have unconscious biases, let's say that right, that we may bring into the classroom, whether it's getting along with students that do well. And then, as soon as we see students that challenge us with their behavior or attitude or lack of homework or whatever it may be, we might feel that inner groan of, ugh. And so, it makes you aware. Once you acknowledge the fact that, okay, yeah, I might have a bias, it makes you aware. Makes you aware when you internalize it, because you want to make sure that while you're in the classroom, that your students feel comfortable with you, that they feel comfortable with their peers. And if you, the leader in the classroom, has a bias and you're showing it, then what do we expect from the students when they are in turn acting in the same way? So we have to internalize those behaviors and realize, okay, this is not what we should be, or how we should be showing um, this behavior in this classroom. Acknowledge it, own it, and do whatever it takes to uh, I don't know if the right word is to control it or to rid it, or do whatever it takes to understand that Bias has no place in a classroom, especially in the classroom of diverse learners. Are a melting pot, and I think I've said that quite a bit in my written work. We here in the United States, it is a melting pot, and we are diverse in every way, shape, or form. And we have to be adaptable, flexible, fair, understanding, empathetic, and as patient as we can be to um, working with our students of diverse backgrounds or working within our classroom um, of diversity. So again, challenging ourselves that the classroom has no place for bias. What can you do as a teacher to own it, recognize it, work on it so that when you're in the classroom, colleagues feel comfortable and students are able to um, be at ease to be able to effectively do their classwork. Um, Looking at my own professional disposition, um, things that I try to promote within the classroom, that I try to be professional at all times. I love to laugh with my students, but I make sure that there's not a line to being crossed. That I try to make sure that um, I'm being responsible with their learning and making sure that I am um, facilitating correctly the output that they are giving, that any concerns that are um, that have been presented, that they are dealt with appropriately, whether it's through counselors or with a parent. Um, their privacy is important. They are allowed to have privacy. We are all allowed to have privacy. And so being professional in that way, making students feel comfortable that they are allowed to come and share what they're feeling, and knowing that I have the integrity of keeping it where it is, not telling the classroom or spreading it like wildfire, but understanding their personal um, needs as they are. I try to make sure that I foster and that's part of being professional, fostering an environment of care, of inclusiveness, and meeting them where they are, and making sure that every student is treated equal, like there's equitable learning for all students. Even if we have to say, okay, come with me, three of you guys, we're going to do small groups real quick so we can get you to be on task. That is important to me as an educator in the classroom. Um, Making sure that I'm holding the bar high for students, having those expectations, but doing it appropriately and doing it in a way that makes them feel comfortable and makes them feel that this challenge is attainable. And most of all, making sure that I conduct myself with integrity and being ethical at all times. That is extremely important for us as professionals, that our integrity is never questioned, that our behaviors are never questioned, that we are holding ourselves as well to a higher standard where certain behaviors and certain languages are not acceptable um, amongst amongst the students. Thank you for this opportunity of sharing my personal disposition of my professionalism as an educator.